Welcome to the Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. This week's show, we're going to recap Fight to Win 157. That was headlined by Deblass and Vagner Rocha, not fighting each other, but different people. We are also going to recap BJJ Stars 4 that took place in Brazil, and we are going to preview potentially Fight to Win 158 and talk about IBJJF NoGi Pans, which is also occurring next week as well. We are not sure at this moment of recording what will happen next week, but we're going to preview them because they are coming up. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, just my co-host,
Emil.
How you doing, Emil?
Good, man. I guess on that note, big news is, Seth Daniels just posted that Philly is shutting down this coming weekend. So venues are basically not allowed to operate the way that they have been.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's happening Friday night or Saturday night yet. They haven't announced.
Thursday or Friday is what he was
saying.
In the post. I think you had the post and you sent it over to us in the chat, and we kind of looked at it and went, okay, that makes sense.
He was basically trying to figure out if it's going to happen and disrupt Fight to Win,
or if they can move it to Thursday, run the card, and then it shuts down there, and they're shut down from there for. But so if you don't know, Fight to Win shut down for a while. When the world initially shut down in March, April into May, I think, they went to Texas because Texas was open. They ran 2 or 3 months of cards in Texas. Philadelphia opened up. They've run a month and a half or so of cards in Philly. They were going to be in Philly through the end of November, I think into December. But the coronavirus numbers have spiked in Philadelphia.
Everywhere.
And everywhere. And so it looks like Philadelphia is in the process of doing another sort of shutdown, lockdown. So we're not certain right now if that card is going to happen this weekend, but we're going to preview it. There are 3 fights announced for the card. We'll do that later in the show, but that's sort of breaking news as we're recording this afternoon, what's going on. In other canceled news, you have anything else on the Philly thing?
No, we'll keep going.
In other canceled news, IBJJF Worlds has been canceled again.
Yeah. It's As we were just saying, its numbers are spiking everywhere, and it's more like it's not if there's a spike where you're at. It's more like if your state is taking precautions, whether or not specifically jiu-jitsu events are going to occur there. So in the case of Worlds and Florida, I don't think ever really shut down. And
I'm not really sure what Florida did. I know that there's a lot of events running in Florida. I know there's a lot of cases in Florida, but I think, was IBJJF going to run in Georgia or Florida? I keep getting the places that they're going to run mixed up here.
I don't know what IBJJF was going to do. I do know that Florida was basically open for business as normal, or as close to normal as you could get. And they appear to still be at the moment. But the question for an event like Worlds or any major, especially Worlds, is, even if the state is open, athletes don't all live in Florida. They live in various states where there's going to be
especially
different
if it's a world
rules.
Championship.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that they cited in their announcement for actually canceling Worlds 2020 again, was that, this is not just a local event. It's a worldwide event, and most of the world can't even get here to compete in this event.
Correct.
So,
but even the people in the United States, it's people in different states are going to have different rules about whether or not their gyms are even open for them to train, And
then
it's
do you need a test coming back in? Do you need a test if you're going to leave a state, certain states? There's a whole host of, it's logistically an absolute nightmare. And IBJJF went, it can't be done, or it shouldn't be done. One of the two.
Even if it happened, it was going to be a disappointing event.
Yeah, we're not going to have the quality of athlete that we want. We're not going to have the number of athletes that we want to make that really a showcase world event like it is every year. Again, kind of add an asterisk to 2020 on this one. I'm hoping by 2022 we can all just kind of LOL about this. And
this isn't jiu-jitsu news, although it is, I guess, tangentially, but there's a number of vaccines that are now in pre-production.
Dude, and I'm getting back into reading my scientific background and what I did.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, I did vaccine research for about 3+ years in a prior life. So I'm super into all of that science and research. So I've been reading all the Pfizer stuff, all the Moderna stuff coming out.
AstraZeneca
stuff coming out. It's been super interesting to get back into journal reading and article reading and crunching through, remembering, okay, this is how I run statistics in my head. This is what I need to check, to make sure the information I'm getting is valid. It's been really cool.
We talk about this because maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel here. I know some countries are starting to plan out purchases for vaccines, which
Yeah.
is great
There's
news.
been some really giant grants that have been awarded from the U.S. government to a number of different pharmaceutical manufacturers. Dude, I'm ready. I'm not eligible for phase 1, 2, or 3 based on my age and my health conditions. But the minute that phase 3 or 4 opens up and I can get it, like, give me that. I
agree,
am
man.
ready for both doses.
That's
Just
right.
Double dose. I'm ready.
Give me all the vaccines.
Yeah, so look it up. It's great information if you're curious about what's happening with that. I highly recommend you educate yourself. Again, not jiu-jitsu news, but kind of
I mean, like
world news.
It impacts our ability to train and enjoy events. So
Watch events. Like if everything shuts down, we're going to be talking a whole lot about historical matches. Asking Josh Weinstock, like, what were you like in the Stone Ages? Like talking about these matches.
Yep.
Let's see. So what other news I got? I had the dates wrong for Spider Korea, so I thought we were going to preview that this week. We are not. IBJJF Pans is still happening. We'll talk about that later in the show.
NoGi pans, right?
Correct, no gi pants, because you already had regular gi pants. It's been a weird year. Let's see. Oh, Yuri Simoes made his 1FC debut.
How'd that go?
I watched the fight. Again, I'm a big 1FC fan, so I watch a lot of their cards. I particularly tuned into that. He did not win. Didn't get knocked out. It looked a lot like the Overeem versus Verdum fight, like their second fight. If you've seen, I think it was that fight, their second fight. Yuri was fighting a guy that was 13-1, Chinese wrestler. Had a little bit of problems here and there. Got hit pretty hard a bunch of times. Didn't get knocked out. Got wobbled a little bit, but really struggled to get a lot of his wrestling game going. When he was on the ground, he looked good, obviously. Not ferocious ground and pound, but still like very good controlled grappling. I think towards the end of the first round and the end of the third round, looked very good in the places that we thought he would look good, but definitely a bit of a kind of an ask to fight a guy with that much veteran experience so early, literally making your first pro fight. Best of luck to him. Hopefully he takes it as I want to say it's a learning experience. That seems diminutive of what he did. He takes it as like a growing experience in MMA if he wishes to continue to pursue it. The fight, I think, is up for free on YouTube for 1FC. I think that has actually an official link through them. You should watch it. You should watch 1FC. They have a lot of really cool grapplers. They have Yuri. They have Gary. They have... had Minari for a while. They have a bunch of cool guys, and generally I think they have a really fun rule set, and a lot of grappling prospects go over there after getting out of BJJ. So let's see. I don't think I have any additional news. I know I'm probably forgetting some giant news, but Worlds being canceled I think is the biggest news. Canceled again that I could put out there. So I'm going to move into the recap section.
Let's do it.
All right, moving on to the recap of Fight to Win 157.
Whoa. No. BJJ Stars, man.
Oh yeah, so that's the page I have up. So let's do that. Moving on to the recap of BJJ Stars 4. This one was headlined by a middleweight tournament featuring some fantastic grapplers as well as a host of other super fights. Where do you want to start with this one? Want to start with the super fights? I want to start on the tournament.
Let's go with the middleweight Grand Prix, and then we can get to the super fights from there. So there's 8 competitors in this Grand Prix.
Yep.
We'll go down. And
IBJJF style scoring in the gi, in Brazil.
10-minute matches.
10-minute matches, definitely. I think the finals was also 10 minutes. I think it was just a straight up black belt IBJJF style. IBJJF scored event. There was no kind of weirdness to it. It was just that's how they were doing it. They were doing like playing the borders. It was pretty much the exact same way. I want to say that actually I saw IBJJF refs scoring it too. So I think it was like legit.
So, first matchup, we have Claudio Kalasand defeating Luan Corrio via decision. Next, after that, we have Otavio de Souza defeating Matthias via decision. 3-0 on an advantage.
Advantage on that decision.
Which
the
is
results are written kind of funny, where it's like I'm used to reading fight to win results where they're formatted a certain way, and then these are not formatted like that.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Matthias Deniz's like his skill disparity in gi and no-gi, and I never thought of him.
Isn't he like a world champion or like a silver medalist in the gi? I always forget that Hulk match if he won that match or he didn't win that match.
He didn't win that match,
okay,
although
he got
I think he got his revenge the next year, but like I don't know if he's where he's medaled on the podium. I don't know if he's gotten third or silver. I don't think he's ever gotten a gold. So
this is information we should know at this point in the show.
Yeah, I know. I'm
but
90% sure Matthias has not gotten a gold.
But we
IBJJF,
primarily see him, at least in the events that we cover him in, like NoGi, looking
obviously
hard as shit to beat.
80cc champion. So
yeah,
in a stacked division.
88
as well.
kilograms is a crazy division.
That was,
and then you can beat Craig Jones repeatedly, like.
Yep.
Crazy good at 88.
Yeah. Can't make it out of the first round in this particular tournament. Next up, we have Leandro Lo defeating Jamie Canuto via advantages.
Yeah, really close match. Lo, again, by one advantage.
Yep.
10-minute match, one advantage. And that kind of, like, a lot of these matches were big stretches of the match were were tepid. Like, guys were feeling each other out and looking for the specific advantage that they wanted, unless you were Isaque Bahiense in the next match.
Oh my God. And actually pretty much all of his matches in this. Maine and I have talked about Isaque Bahiense, where he is he's always good. Stylistically, he's hot and cold, whether or not he's being explosive or he's being like cautious.
Well, he can have some matches where it doesn't look like he opens up. Like, he doesn't have
He opened up this whole Grand Prix.
Oh, yeah. This was not one of the times where he was cold. He was definitely hot. He seemed to be firing on all cylinders here, and he just pushed a pace in all his matches, and he was super aggressive for the finishes, like, repeatedly through the entire GP.
Isaque Bahiense defeating Gustavo Batista 2-0 on advantages, 2-2 on points. Just amazing sequences throughout this. This is a really fun match.
There was 3 sequences in the match that Bahiense just looked like crazy good. There was like 3 different judo sequences that happened here. One at the beginning of the match, which off of like
a drop
Seo counter that actually Batista sprawled, and they both just banged their faces into the mat.
Gustavo's head slams into the mat.
It looks like Bahiense's head kind of slammed into the mat too. Like Bahiense got sprawled on here. Batista also ate it into the mat, and then both guys popped back up. There was a really cool...
Dude, Gustavo counters with the Tomoe Nage. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then Isaque goes off of that and nearly takes the back and gets to crucifix and nearly sinks the choke and ends the match right there.
I think this is honestly, think about this match. This is probably like fight of the night for the event. Overall, just the action and the pace, and kind of watching Bahiense continue to path towards submissions, and then even in one section of the match, he hits they're standing. Bahiense has an overhook whizzer, and Gustavo is sort of walking towards him a little bit, and he drops and throws the whizzer on it's not even a super deep overhook on the whizzer, and throws not Tomoe-nage, a Tayatoshi counter off of it, and takes Batista off his feet onto the ground.
Yeah, I love the Tayatoshi. It's
I'm so worried to ever throw that because if you know the Tayatoshi is basically a straight leg throw that you step out a leg in front of someone's feet, one leg in front, similar to the Harigoshi, but the leg is planted and down.
Yep.
And so if you mess it up, your knee explodes.
Yep.
But that's only if you do it wrong. But it's always, whenever I've learned the technique, I've always had that person teaching it to me, or the sensei teaching it to me, has always emphasized this, and it always makes me super nervous, even though I've actually never seen it go wrong in a jiu-jitsu match ever.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. It's just one of those, every judo throw, it's just one of those ones that you have to commit and not think about.
Yeah. And also, if you don't turn your knee, if you turn your knee down, you're usually fine. But it's the one when you throw the Tayatoshi and the leg is up, or the knee is pointing up. If someone lands on you wrong, your knee just goes and breaks in half.
Yep. So yeah, just beautiful Tayatoshi. I get really excited when I see them.
I love whenever you see a throw from the overhook. As a man who is particularly shitty at pummeling for the underhook, all of my stand-up game comes off of overhook throws. So I love it when I see a high-level black belt versus another high-level black belt make it work. It makes me go okay, I can still do these things potentially.
Then another really great sequence, Isaque nearly taking the back from standing.
Jumps his back.
Just straight up jumps. Gets the takedown points, which end up tying the points, but then because of the crucifix choke, and I can't remember
at the beginning
what
of the
else.
match, we didn't even talk about.
Yeah,
he had Batista in it for a minute or 2 minutes.
I don't know about 2 minutes, but definitely a minute. And so Isaque is up on very clear advantages, and wins the match.
Go back and watch this match. This match was definitely
It's
fight
really
of the
good
night for BJJ Star. I keep getting all the Brazilian promotions that have BJJ in the name, like BJJ Stars, BJJ Bet, BJJ here. It's like they're all in my head as the same promotion. It also didn't help that the mat for BJJ Stars here had an entire like net bet, which looked like BJJ Bet's font on the mat. So it was just particularly confusing to me after an entire day of duck hunting.
Next up, Leandro Lo. This is the semifinals. Leandro Lo defeats Claudio Kalasand 7-0 on points.
Dude, Leandro was on today.
Yep.
Like he hit the afterburners and like takedowns, passing. I always kind of forget. There's a end of this match. Leandro's up 5-0, and I always kind of forget at kind of how dynamic Leandro can throw his double leg.
You know what's funny is Leandro's he's like one of the kings of doing the like, I'm going to lean into you and like we're both resting at standing and then just like all of a sudden.
And then he just drops into you. But yeah. I love that he's able to finish the double legs. Like there's a whole, if you've ever watched Leandro's game, and you definitely should if you're unfamiliar with Leandro Lo, if you ever look at how he enters into the double legs, it's always super straight, like not super straight up and down, but there's never like a big penetration step. He's just sort of falling off of you and then just like sweeping you over. And he'll transition for the double leg or the single leg off of that. And we saw both of them on display, one versus Isaque in the next match here. But this one, they're just resting. And you just
very
see Leandro,
efficient. You know what it reminds me of? Actually, it reminds me a lot of his one of his favorite training partner, Buchecha's kind of takedown style, where it's like very efficient. You know, it's like it's not pretty.
It's not like pretty wrestlery. It's
like not explosive or flashy.
You ever see in wrestling, but it is totally effective in jiu-jitsu. Where in the gi especially, when the pacing is different, when you can tie up in grips, and you can. There's places where
it's a timing thing, really.
Yeah, both guys don't really commit to resting, but both guys are looking for an opening, and you can feed that opening into dropping underneath someone's hips and just hitting like a really clean double leg. But I also like about this, for specifically how Leandro finishes the double leg here, is there's no drive forward.
No.
He just like sort of sits you down, almost like forces you to pull guard on him with how he throws it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because like when I first was writing my notes on this, I was like, and Leandro hits a blast double, and I was like, no, that's there's nothing blast double about that. That's just
like,
a regular double.
What's the opposite of a blast double? It's just like a not
sit double.
It's like a not blast double.
Yeah.
But again, it works, and we see this repeatedly from Leandro, is that he gets right up on you, but he just pulls your hips and legs into him, as opposed to actually driving and pulling in. And like, there's no corner turn here. It's just like, boop, turned you down and got you.
Yep.
So, yeah, beautiful timing here from Leandro.
Next up, Isaque Bahiense defeating Otavio de Souza via lapel choke.
From the back.
Yeah, it's bow and arrow choke. Yeah, Isaque is just firing all cylinders here, gets to the back, starts attacking a cross collar, and this sequence, Maine and I had to watch it like a few times.
So I watched it. I was like, "Where is this? Was this the Lovato sequence or was this the sequence?"
No, this is the one where Isaque does the crazy fast like arm switch feint for the cross collar choke. So Isaque is on the back and he's feinting like he's going for a cross collar with one hand, and so Otavio is defending very well against that one hand
on the same side,
and then just like lightning quick, Isaque switches the other hand, yanks it, and uses the momentum from pulling down on that hand to whip around and release one hook and get into the bow and arrow position.
What was impressive to me was that the hand switch is really cool, but it's the speed that he can yank his leg out, get completely cross body with the leg, and then start like bow and arrowing from that angle.
And if you see with his other hand going underneath for the Japanese style grip, he does three things simultaneously, dumb fast.
And these are the sequences why like Emil and I are both really big fans of Isaque Bahiense when he's on, is because he'll throw stuff at this speed with like really great timing, like grip switching in conjunction with hip movement and like finishing.
So last week you talked about that the Mighty Mouse finish against Ray Borg.
Yep.
This is a very similar movement in terms of positioning your hips and getting perpendicular like almost immediately while also getting the grips.
And the tap was super quick. Like Otavio gets turned over, and then as he's there is no like, wait, I'm going to fight the choke. It's just like, cool, I'm dying already. I've got a tap.
Yep.
And Isaque gets the tap, and we move on to the finals, which was Leandro Lo taking on Isaque Bahiense. Very, very close match.
Yep. Leandro wins via one advantage that he scores with, 10 seconds left?
Dude, it was a slow match. And then Leandro, because again, I think Leandro was just such a veteran when it comes to like doing exactly what he has to do in the moment. So there was like, I was watching the match, and there'd been some back and forth here, but there was about a minute left in the match. I was like, okay, someone's like, when are they going to go? Because usually with a guy like Leandro, he's not just going to run the clock out if it's even. Like, he will start to give you something. I was like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? And then it happens. And Leandro goes, and he does, again, like we saw in the Claudio match at the end. He just shoots for a double leg, and he switches it off to a single leg, and he runs Isaque out of bounds for the advantage.
Yep. Oh, he takes him down, but like...
Sorry, takes him down out of bounds now, so it's beyond the warning border. And my bad, Emil, because that's different. It's different for points there. So it's not 2 points, but it's taken down outside the warning border. Gets an advantage for it, and that's the match. And then he runs away for the last like 20 seconds, as you should do, because you get the penalty. There's not 2 penalties on your board, so you can still take 2 penalties before you give up the advantage for the other person.
Yep.
Beautiful technique, great way to do it. Leandro Lo, again, I think we picked Leandro based on me remembering.
I picked Gustavo Batista.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at last week's show, and I don't think anyone else will, so I definitely picked Leandro to win. I mean, based on something I just made up.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we did say was like, basically...
He's a factor.
Leandro, Isaque, but I think I picked anyway Gustavo Batista.
Yeah, I might have hedged that as well.
But yeah, Isaque was definitely the most fun to watch throughout this tournament.
Dude, this is why we like Isaque, because he's like looking to finish, and he's quick, and he's like, the technique is there to do it.
So let's talk about the super fights. Ana Rodriguez defeating Amanda Montero via advantages.
Really, 3 advantages, nice and close match there.
Erich Munis defeats Victor Hugo by points. 6-4.
Mostly a 50-50 battle. I was super curious to see how this played out. It kind of played out how I thought it was going to play out, where there's a lot of 50-50 work. It was, again, not taking anything away from either athlete. It was pretty much every 50-50 battle that ends 6-4 that you've seen.
Yep.
Very close.
Teeter-totter, basically.
Yeah, some interesting gripping. Yeah, it was truly teeter-totter, but it was nice that we'd see some guys fully come up. Both guys would fully come up. Some really interesting gripping sequences. I really like what Munis was doing and how he was getting up out of the 50-50. He was turning Hugo's leg out, and then with his back leg, he was making a big step up so that it couldn't be re-gripped by Hugo to knock him down, and then standing up off of it. Again, neither guy really got a ton going from it, but it was, you see one of the best guard players at the heavier weights in the world versus one of the up-and-coming top guard players in the world, and, I tried a 50-50 battle.
Next up, we got Bia Mesquita defeating Tamara Ferreira.
4 points. Lots of playing the edge in this match. It was definitely a slower match. Bia, looked good the entire time, did what she needed to get it done. Didn't give up any points.
She's one of the best.
Yeah.
Next up, Demetrius Sousa.
I want to see her fight Fionn again, by the way.
I do too. I mean,
that's the match
I want to see Bia fight everybody.
But
she's incredible.
I really want to see the Fionn match again. For some, that match sticks out in my head as really fun every time.
They've faced each other several times.
A couple times, and somebody always gets hurt every time. I think most every time someone gets hurt.
I don't know about that, but
Next
I agree.
match.
Demetrius Sousa submits Rafael Lovato Jr. via crucifix choke.
Goddamn, Souza looked good here.
Jesus, this passing was nuts.
It looked a lot like when we saw Lovato face Hulk at Fight to Win a little bit ago. Like, very similar passing sequences where Souza was getting in on Hulk's legs from like a long range half guard, and then actively working to Toriando and combo that was stepping out. We weren't seeing quite as much knee cutting.
It's that Toriando style with the tripod, like tripoding on the head.
Yeah.
That is just, it's bananas, man. Like, seeing people do that and at the pace that he was doing
the pace was really what kind of struck me here, is that it was repeated. Like, Lovato would regard, and Souza would just keep throwing, and he would never really let Lovato establish a tight, like, Lovato is going to play a grindy game on you, and Souza just kept the distance the entire time, so Lovato could never slow him down and get him into sort of the fight that he wanted, and just continued to throw that pass over and over and over and over. And eventually he gets over, and then when he gets the side control on Lovato, something I thought was really interesting is he never lets Lovato like square his shoulders and get back flat to the mat. He always has his knees, or he has an arm underneath Lovato's body, actively pulling him up so that Lovato can't square and come into him at all. And that's inevitably what ends up getting him to the back. And I just thought the whole sequence for how he's able to control the shoulders there and prevent the back getting flat to the mat from the pass and then onward was really, really nifty. He does a really great job of reaching under the body and grabbing cross-side underhook on the gi to have it, lapel, to have it function as an underhook on that side to prevent Lovato from being able to turn into it and get flat. It was just a whole beautiful sequence.
Really good control,
and
yeah.
then, and then he kind of starts pathing towards the back.
Yep. Eventually gets to the crucifix, and I mean, yep, that was brutal.
I had to watch this a bunch of times. Actually, you had to watch it with me to figure out what was going on, because in this crucifix finish, I was trying to figure out why Lovato can't pop his head out, because Souza is relatively high up on Lovato's neck and shoulders. And I was trying to think, okay, well, why can't Lovato sort of push him down from the crucifix? I see that his arm is trapped with Souza's leg. That makes sense to me. But just the positioning of where Lovato's head was, I was like, hey, why is he getting choked here? And why can't he make the angle? And then you pointed out that I couldn't see Souza's other hand. So I couldn't see the hand that was closest to Souza's hips for Souza, and you said, oh yeah, he has a zipper grip here, or not a zipper grip, but
it's a cross collar,
a cross collar grip here, and he's basically finishing an X choke almost from this position. And I just thought this was a single arm crucifix finish with the bow and arrow.
It's hard to see until he releases it, and then you see his arm come out from behind the head, and you're like, okay, yeah, it is a very nasty cross collar choke. Yeah. So. Great work by Demetrius Sousa.
Yeah, super impressive finish. And again, I think that was the first. I think there's some cool history discussion on the commentary for Lovato here in his competition in Brazil. If you don't know, Lovato, I think, was the first American to ever go down, maybe the first non-Brazilian to ever win Brazilian Nationals. Yep. So he's got history. I think he's been competing in Brazil for 21 years. Again, it was cool to see him back down in Brazil competing again. And big props to Souza for submitting him.
Last super fight, Patrick Gaudio defeating Devonte Johnson via decision, or at one advantage, really.
Yeah. Both guys, it was a very, not tepid match. Definitely a slower paced match. A lot of feeling out, and neither guy really ever started to just go. That was the match.
Just on the feet a lot, pushing and, yeah, exactly. Trying to see openings and not necessarily generate them, but yeah.
And that was the match. So that was BJJ Stars 4. Definitely go back and watch Isaque's run here.
These matches, by the way, are on YouTube at the moment.
Illegally.
Yeah. So
if you bought the pay-per-view like I did, the review it is not up yet. You can go watch the first 3 events on their service when they work. But
when we checked this morning, and actually even this afternoon, wasn't up yet as of Monday afternoon. But it should be up at some point. They have all the other events up there already for people to watch. So hopefully it's available there. Also available on YouTube. So,
all right. So let's move on to our recap of Fight to Win 157. This event was headlined by Kodiak Fields defeating Tom Deblass via decision for the. Was it a title match?
Super heavyweight.
Was it a title match or not?
Yes.
Okay. Super heavyweight title. I think Masters heavyweight title.
Tom Deblass and bottom half guard.
That was pretty much the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fields just, more active with kind of the top position and passing attempts, and just overall really gets it done with activity and actively pressing forward and looking to sort of engage. Deblass really never got a whole lot going from the bottom as far as sweeps or offense. So I think, it was, a straight decision win for Fields here.
Yep.
And he takes the victory.
Vagner Rocha defeating Gabriel Almeida via inside heel hook.
Dude,
submission of the
we've
night.
seen Vagner give us some slower paced matches recently. A lot of hand fighting on the outside.
I'm telling you, man, in terms of 50-50, Vagner is one of the most entertaining, if not the most entertaining athlete.
Go back and watch Vagner Rocha versus Tanquinho. every time we talk about 50-50,
we talk about it a
NoGi,
lot. Yeah.
Go if you haven't seen it, like genuinely,
It's a
go
dope
back
match.
and watch it. It is worth your time from a technical perspective and from an entertainment perspective to watch two guys that can actually play an entertaining 50-50 battle. And you see that both guys are super dangerous in 50-50.
Which we learn. Basically, most of the matches, Vagner pressure passing here, like we're accustomed to him seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Vagner has an incredible base. I mean, he is just like...
He also, low-key, super flexible.
Very
There was a couple
flexible, yeah.
positions, and Gabriel Almeida was doing a super great job of playing like a low X guard,
Yep.
and he kept like Vagner would
Single
go
leg
to pass.
X and entanglements, yeah.
Mhm. And even the X guard, like he would have Wagner's leg, and he would throw a super long outside X guard hook, and Vagner would just be able to sit down in that with his leg like
Do a
at his
split,
chest.
yeah.
Yes, and you just do not see that very often at all. It was cool to see because
Vagner can hold a split while passing and maintain balance.
the balance thing is what's crazy to me because most people, whenever they go to that split position, they're immediately off balance. But Vagner can get his outside leg up there, and then he can also force you to eat his weight and balance on you. And that was what was most impressive to me. Is there's a front camera facing shot at one point in this match where Gabriel Almeida has the overhook or has maybe an underhook on Wagner's leg in X guard, and like a super, like almost like a deep X guard, and Wagner's knee is probably 5 inches from his chest, and he's just sitting like straight bolt upright in that low position, and his legs being elevated, and his far leg is balancing, and then he's in no way going to get taken over. And it was like, okay, not many people can physically do that and have the wherewithal to continue to fight the hands and block the grips and the legs and be looking to pass from this low
and
of an
threaten,
X guard.
Exactly. So just tremendous work from Vagner. Vagner is basically able to, using that kind of split motion with his back leg, unhook his leg from the X guard and then sit into a 50-50. And they begin kind of like doing like exchanges, like, you know,
Vagner starts getting a little punchy.
yeah, not too bad, but like you can see him starting to like you see Vagner starting to, you know, gradually try to break the legs apart in order to attack, and then you see Gabriel come up and address it, and then there's a moment. It happens so fast where
it's like 15 seconds left in the match.
It's not a lot of time left in the match, and all Gabriel is doing is kind of like leaning back to do an adjustment. And I mean, Wagner's hands dart and clasp around the heel and just he yanks an inside heel hook. I mean, it happens
I love
ridiculously
the whip switch
fast.
here, though, because Vagner, Almeida's legs are both on top. And so Vagner reaches between the space between the two calves of the leg to get the lower leg that he's going to have a little more leg control with, and he almost finishes the heel hook from an open-kneed stance. But because they're both engaging in this 50-50, Vagner can get his whole entire shoulders and body away from the position as he's finishing, and it has enough torque for Almeida just like can't make the space quick enough to get to address the knee line, even in that kind of free, uncontrolled space. And he gets the tap. It was a nice icing on the cake to the match because it had already been a really fun match technically. Again, I like playing X guard, and it was cool to see someone that could just murder that position from like positions where Vagner should be getting swept, and he's just not. And Gable was just not able to sweep him, and Gable was making all these nice adjustments.
I
and
haven't seen
ends
anyone.
in 50-50.
I haven't seen anyone be able to destabilize Vagner.
His base, and his balance and his flexibility it was just great. And then to have this match end on a finish like this, and at the speed that Vagner just rips it, you know, really great match. Again, this shows why Vagner Rocha is, you know, one of the top guys in the world. I think it was funny. Vagner had the welterweight, I think middleweight and welterweight belts at certain times in Fight to Win. I'm very curious to see. I don't remember who has those belts now. I would love to see Vagner get another title.
He's gone up in weight, so he might be fighting at a different class. But yeah,
I think. Middleweight. I think he's middleweight now. 185 because he's probably not cutting.
Yeah,
but I mean, 170, 185. This would not surprise me. I think this was a middleweight bout, which kind of was like, oh yeah, forget Wagner's no longer at 55, like out of ADCC competition. So I want to see it.
Next up, we have Stephen Williams defeating Kyle Myers via decision. Dylan Royce defeating Garrett Lavage via decision. Rich Hernandez defeating Jared Weiner via decision. Joseph Bays defeating Kyle Hughes via decision.
It's a Bays match. Bays is going to hold that leg to your chest and look for that particular heel hook entry, and he's just able to throw up more offense, especially in the beginning of the match here. There's a couple times that Kyle just had to defend, and I really think that's what gets it done. Bays is so hard to pass from that preferred leg position. We see it in Sug every time he competes on Sug, and pretty much every time Bays competes, like if he's going to grab that front leg and he's going to look to invert under you, and guys have sort of figured that out, but no one can really pass effectively against that leg positioning. So again, always interesting to watch Bays implement that particular strategy on guys and have it work for him.
Next up, Jay-Z Cavalcante defeats Nick Ronan via decision, and that was fight of the night for the black belts.
Yep. I am looking at a different set of notes and results, so I'm gonna.
So this was an interesting match. I didn't know Nick was with Sarah BJJ.
Yep, Nick Ronan and Sarah, and so was what's his name? Jason Rao.
Awesome.
Also technically Sarah. But yeah, both guys are Sarah guys.
Oh, man. Nick with really good dexterous guard work. Jay-Z with a decisive slam towards the end there. I think that's ultimately what won the match. Next up, Josh Pike defeating Dom Hoskins via decision. William Wolk defeating Jay Wadsworth via decision.
So that was actually a toe hold. It's listed in the results the same way for me, but that was actually a toe hold finish with like 6 or 8 seconds left in the match. William Wolk, I think the last match we covered him in depth was actually the Eddie Cummings match, and so we just locks up a really straight leg toe hold and finishes it from a position you typically don't see. So interesting finish there for Wolk on that toe hold.
Brown belts, Jonathan Cardenas defeats Manuel Farfan via guillotine. Christina Pinto defeats Gabri Etzel via leg lock. Renee Souza defeats Jeremiah Wells via decision. Ryan Thomas defeats Chris Thompson via decision. Ellis Cardog defeats David Weintraub via decision.
Caradag.
Thanks. Caradag. Ruben Blanco defeats Jonathan Crow via shoulder lock. Purple belts, Christine Briggs defeats Mary Cup via arm triangle. Jess Feliciano defeats Jacqueline Gola via heel hook. Kyle Milanese defeats Patrick Simpson via decision. Tyler Rivera defeats Nick Toscano via armbar. Samantha Fisher defeats Jillian Peterson via darce. Eric Williams defeats Gabriel Barbosa via armbar. Benjamin Kunzel defeats Christopher Emery via armbar. Calvin Tracy defeats Daisho Goto via decision. Steve Joaquim defeats Julian Flannery via omoplata. Blue belts, Brett McGill defeats Nick Massini via split decision. Justin Pack defeats Robert Andrews via decision. Javon Owens defeats Mark Aguirre via decision. Jack McGill defeats Josh Dezua via decision. Dylan Cordell defeats Daniel Ramirez Jr. via decision. And the team title match, Michael Gillen defeats William Sojo via decision and becomes the teen lightweight champ.
I need to have the same results that you have, apparently, because I pulled up 3 different results while you were doing
Flow,
that,
dog.
And they were all different. I had different results on Flow.
Go, scroll up.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so you have the old school ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the new ones that are super hard for me to read.
Just try clicking on them again.
Try refreshing to see.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's so weird.
Yeah, they were like it earlier, too. So, yeah, that's why I couldn't read my thing. So, that does it for Fight to Win 157. Let's move on to the preview for Fight to Win 158. Again, not certain if this event's going to happen, but let's preview it. So, 3 big matches. Felipe Trovo versus Dominic Bell. I've seen a bunch of these guys. I think most recently we saw Trovo on Subversive. Subversive, not the most recent Subversive, the one where GB took it. And we kind of talked about, how good Trovo looked. I assume this is going to be in the gi. Both guys primarily gi players. I assume we're going to see Bell looking to implement his judo. I'm curious to see if Trovo will elect to pull or decide to stand up with Bell. Could see a lot of lapel work from either guy. Again, Bell looked really good at Pans when we saw him. I think he didn't close out with his teammate. I forget, was it him and Batista in the finals?
I cannot remember.
Yeah. So I'm really curious because, again, Trovo's looked good from GB, but Bell and his recent Pans performance, I kind of want to lean Dominic Bell on this one. Any thoughts on that?
I can't picture either of their games enough to make a call here. So
next match, we have Talita Noguera versus Maria Maliasic. Again, I think these ladies have fought each other, I think, a couple of times before. either one, I can see pathways to victory here. It's been a very close. I think it's been a very close match in the past. Isaque has looked good, both at Pans and prior to that, so it should be fun. Also, another women's match on the card: Elizabeth Clay versus Rafael Geddes. You know what Clay's looking for here.
Yep.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think she had a recent. Did she fight Garcia? Yeah, she had a recent. Who's number one? And Garcia was able to put that stifling pressure into her. But I think Garcia's been the only person that's been unable to do that. Everyone else she's got under, and she's got the heel hook.
I just get the impression from Clay that, like, given enough time, she'll be able to get one on Gabby.
She just has a consistent, like,
even in that match, like, she could move around enough that, like, I think.
So Garcia also had a match this weekend on BJJ Stars, and I don't know why it wasn't listed on our results. She took that. She looked good. It was a gi match. I'm not sure why it was not listed in the results we were looking at. Yeah. Speaking of that, I just realized that was not actually in the results we parsed through. Again, I'm always want to lean Clay just because we've seen so few people able to stifle Clay's game. You know what it's going to do. She's going to pull. She's going to enter you. She's going to reach that far side leg. She has so many ways to break your grip and to get under you. And anytime that
you break your leg.
Yeah. Anytime that you start to disengage out of those positions too, you have to get out of the range that Clay likes to operate in. And she is so good at getting underneath you quickly. I'm just very curious to see if Geddes can do that in time and quick enough. Again, we know the pathway to kind of beating Clay is to just continually pressure her for the entire time. I'm just not sure if Geddes can do that. Geddes is very, very good, but we've just seen so few people able to stop that entry from Clay.
Yep.
Also potentially taking place next week, November 22nd, 21st and 22nd, NoGi Pans. Right now, as far as the entries, we have I have no idea if this is going to happen.
Yep.
Where's it taking place in? Atlanta. Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. We have a couple rooster weights registered. We have 12 light featherweights registered. How do you want to do it, Emil? You want to go for the names?
We'll just look at names. Like, I see Pinero is in light feather.
He's historically a rooster weight, isn't he? I thought he's usually a rooster weight.
I guess he's gone up. Who else we have?
Joao Meow, baby.
Yep.
Actually, both Meow brothers. Joao and Paulo are both in the light featherweight division.
Interesting.
Obviously, they will probably be placed on the opposite sides of the bracket. We also have Richard Alarcon in this match. We saw him versus Paulo a little bit ago. I want to say it was at Grapple Fest, and he took a really close decision over Paulo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been. I think that's what happened. It might have.
Thiago Souza's in this one.
We also have Dennis Pressey Jr. Out of Altos, out of Roots BJJ under Kristen Woodmansey.
So substantial amount of talent in the light feather.
Iago Gama also in this division.
Souza,
Yeah, sorry. There's going to be light featherweight. It's going to be crazy here. We have 2 registered in rooster weight. Moving on to the men's featherweight division, a division of 17. We got
Johnny Grippo and Kennedy Maciel off the top. We have, let's see,
Gabriel de Souza as well at the bottom. Let's see.
Those are the big ones.
Those are the big names that I recognize offhand. DeAndre Cobre, also, I think a new black belt. I think that's who I'm thinking of. I'm curious to see, looking at this here, seeing a Kennedy and Grippo semifinal wouldn't surprise me at all. I would guess that they're not going to put those two guys, given how many points both of them have, at the same side of the bracket. They'll most likely be seated different in a bracket of 17. So seeing those two gentlemen in the finals or in the semifinals together would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yep.
Men's lightweight, we got Samir Chantre. We have Michael Lehrer Jr. We have, let's see who else. Those are the big names that are jumping out at me.
I don't see any other huge ones here.
Yeah, Michael Lehrer Jr. has, again, looked really, really good at Pans. When you see him, and Shamir's look good. I honestly kind of want to lean towards Lehrer taking this whole thing. His performance at Pans just kind of showed that he'd made that step up and that he was just, crazy good. Moving on to the middleweight division, we have Jonathan Gracie. We have David Garmo. We have... Let's see. Look for other big names. Dude, I wish they would give me just the 2 names we know people by.
Yep.
I'm reading through 47 Brazilian names. Oliver Taza. First one at black belt. Just recently promoted. I want to say, last week's show we talked about it? Promoted under 10 days. So really excited to see how Taza looks. Again, no heel hooks yet, but first nogi major as a black belt. Very, very curious to see how that plays out. Felipe Silva, Cesar Silva, also in this division. I want to see how
Enrique Galarza is in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to see how Jonathan Gracie and
Ronaldo Jr. is in it too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I want to see all those guys against Taza. That would be
that's a lot of talent.
Super fun. Yeah, it's a fun division. Medium heavyweight division, we have Kleber Souza in the beginning of the bracket.
Andrew Wiltsey. Marilla Santana.
Michael Perez is in here as well. Let's see.
Awesome.
Yep, that should be a fun division. Under the heavyweight division, we have Jake. Nope, that's not Jake Watson. That's Joseph Watson. We have Rolando de Jesus Montero.
Lucas the Hulk Barbosa's in it.
We had Valdir Harujo. Baby Monster's in here.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's
I'm curious to see how Baby Monster looks. We've not seen him, I don't think, in a gi major. It's a no-gi major. That's why. In a little bit. Very curious about that. Super heavyweight division. We have Kainan Duarte.
All right.
Tex Johnson.
I mean, you don't need to read anything else. We know how this is going.
Yeah, your boy Kainan's back.
Yep.
Is he off suspension? This will be the first major that he's done.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think this would have been the first major that he would have done because he would have been.
It was the summer that it. I thought it was the summer that
it was Worlds, so it would have been.
Oh, and that got canceled. Yep. June,
I think, or July.
Yep.
Is usually when Worlds is. So
that's exactly right. Yep.
Now he's legal again, baby. I'm ready. I look for Tex Johnson versus Kainan Duarte here in the finals. In nogi, it's going to look similar because it's going to be really interesting because both are kind of primary nogi guys.
Ultra heavy. We got Max Jimenez. Let's see who else. That's
Ricardo Evangelista.
Yep.
As well from GF Team. Look for those two guys in the finals.
And Diego Romalo. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see him there.
Yeah.
Look for Max Jimenez.
I mean, those are all. Every division has substantial people in it, so that's
women's divisions are a little smaller. Women's lightweight has 4 competitors in it. Nikki Sullivan's in here. Natalie Habero's in here. Look for a finals with those two. Medium heavy division of 2, Vanessa Griffin in there, Emily Silva. And then female super heavy division of 2, Kendra Riesling and Tara White. I think they just faced each other recently. I want to say it's Subversive. I think they both went against each other. I forget actually who took that now. So that should be a fun rematch there. I don't know if this is going to happen or not.
Yep. As of right now, it is.
As of right now, it's not. It's happening, but a lot can change in a week. Again, have we ever covered Nogi Pans before? I think we have, but typically we only do the majors for Nogi. I'm really curious. I don't remember if we ever covered Nogi Pans. I figure we would have, but I don't know now. And my brain is kind of completely blanking on
Nogi Pans. I'm trying to remember. That's the Nogi Pans is where Victor Hugo broke out, right?
That was Nogi Worlds, I think.
Oh, it was Nogi Worlds.
Might have been Nogi Pans, but I know that he looked really good at Nogi Worlds. That's where he kneebarred Cyborg.
And didn't Gordon Ryan compete in a Nogi Pans?
Bro, you're going back a couple of years.
Yeah.
2018?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, he did Nogi Pans and Nogi Worlds that year, and he got double gold. And it was very funny because there was a couple of matches that he wasn't winning, and then he beat everyone, and we went, okay, maybe he can do all the rule sets. Maybe he can back up all of that shit he be talking.
Yep.
And then he never did it again, and everyone kind of went, okay. I called out that it was his first major as a black belt, and then it just didn't matter because he beat everyone.
Yep.
And he's really, really good. So, I think that's all we got for this week. Again, another kind of short show. Jiu-Jitsu is winding down a little bit. We'll see how it turns out in a week. If Jiu-Jitsu does shut down again, we are looking for topics. Find us on Instagram and, hit us up with, hey, I want to hear you guys talk about this. You got any other historic matches we can talk about? That was a lot of fun back in March and April. There's, I think, some other good stuff that we definitely can talk about again. But if you have something that you would like to hear us talk about, a specific style matchup or guard matchup or something that you think would be interesting to hear us on the professional scene, let us know as the world's going to get a little crazy. Hopefully we get this vaccine ASAP.
I'd be down for another story time with Josh because that
was pretty great.
His knowledge is absurd. Absurd.
Story time with Josh Weinstock of the Grappling Rewind.
Yeah.
It's like, hi, Josh, tell us stories about yesteryear when I was a lowly white belt before I put on the gi.
Oh, even before white belt, yeah.
Yesteryear. I want him to tell the story about the first time competing when UAE-JJF came over to the United States, and it was in Florida. It was he competed in the first UAE-JJF event in the United States.
That's hilarious.
And so they drove down to Florida. So that I don't think he's told that story on the show before. I think that's a fun story. He's also got some other very funny jiu-jitsu related stories over the years that I think would be fun. I think we talked about it doing like a bonus show every like year, every like 6 months of just Grappling Rewind stories. That show got really great response last time, like way more than I thought it was going to do.
I'd be down for that. We can always share stories like that, but just hearing about like old school matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like hearing
that's what I like the most.
Point out to stuff where I'm like, wait, that happened? I had no fucking idea those people matched off.
In the 90s?
Yeah.
That was a thing?
Yeah.
When jiu-jitsu was a thing in the infancy and the gis like didn't matter and the brands don't exist anymore. So that does it. What should we look like? Anything fun planned?
Chill week, just trying to lay low, you know.
You back to eating food now with the tooth?
Oh yeah, I've been eating food. Oh
nice.
My God, it's fucking... I missed food so bad.
Waking up during surgery for no reason.
Yep. Yeah.
Fun.
So yeah, no complications there, which is nice. Dope. So.
But anything fun this week that you got planned?
No, just like I said, laying low. We got the holidays coming up, so I don't want to like fuck anything up.
We're not going anywhere. I'm taking time off, but we're not going anywhere. I'm just duck hunting a shitload.
I'm like, it's looking increasingly like that might be the case for us too.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, all the holidays are other people in my family are getting together with some of the older folks, and they're like, yeah, stay away because we don't want to die. And I went, that's reasonable. I love you guys. They're like, we love you from afar. We'll Amazon you something cool.
Right.
So they've just been duck hunting a lot. Apparently that's a thing that I do now. Dude, getting up at 2 a.m, that's a shitty way to start the day.
I can't believe you get up for anything other than like some obscure MMA event in Asia or some shit.
Oh, you mean Ryzen? Like I've done before? Yeah, Ryzen and 1FC being broadcast at weird times will get me up occasionally. Once or twice a year. Usually I watch the New Year's Eve card in Japan for Ryzen because it's just a crazy card every year.
I wonder if sumo's going on now that you mention it.
That was a Josh question in a big way.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying if jiu-jitsu goes down, maybe we'll bring sumo back.
I don't know everything in Japan. I think Japan's relatively back to normal.
Dog, I just saw a photo from a full-blown, like, 100,000 person concert in Taiwan because they don't have fucking COVID. Because they have a competent fucking response.
Yeah. Welcome to America, baby.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting out in the woods and duck hunting. It's awesome. I shot my limit of mallard ducks in 15 minutes. I feel like a real great hunter. Hunting with a shotgun is super fun. Who knew? Sitting in the marshland, hanging out with your buddies. So that's all I've been doing recently. I'm doing that this weekend again, and then maybe in the week of Thanksgiving, I'm going to do that again because I can't train a whole lot. So I'm like engaging in other hobbies now, mostly like getting into the woods and hunting the foliage. Or not the foliage,
and
the fauna.
Hopefully letting your body rest.
Yeah, I got an MRI tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, for my back.
Damn.
Yeah, because they're like, it hasn't really gotten better in a year and a half. Your last MRI was February of 19. Let's get another one because you're still in a lot of pain. I was like, yes, that would be nice. And so that's tomorrow. And then I'm getting more injections in my back on Thursday, and then we're going to consult a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
Because we're going down that route now.
Well, dude, I hope for the best.
Yeah, you will hear next week. If I have another broken back again, it'll be less funny the second time. Maine's broken back too, electric boogaloo.
It's not funny, yeah.
It's like, you got to laugh a little bit at it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I lost like a $5 bet to Josh about that though, like 2 years ago. Like, my back's broken. Wait, what? It's actually broken? Yeah, it's actually broken. So I'll find out this week. But that's my fun of this week is this vacations the following week. Thanksgiving is what, 2 weeks?
The week. I can't remember.
It's coming up. I'm off that week. I'm excited. I'm going to be in my house doing exactly what I've been doing.
It's next week.
Doing exactly what I've been doing for the past 7 months. So nothing really changes for me. Everyone be safe. You got anything else, Emil?
That's it.
As always in the Grappling Rewind, I'm your host, Maine. Join my co-host,
Emil.
And we are the Grappling Rewind. We'll see you on the mats whenever that is. Stay safe. Happy holidays soon. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.